Hello everyone, this is Joanna the Medium. Thank you so much for coming back. These are going to be your messages for the month of November 2018. I want to give you a couple of things before we move on to the messages. First and foremost, thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to do this. My intention is always to give you helpful information that will allow you to know yourself deeply. So whether it is something to think about or something that will allow you to do things differently, or I give you a suggestion or idea, Spirit is here to help you to understand yourself better so that you can have freedom and more choices. Whatever signs you're listening to, whichever is your sign, sometimes you'll be guided to see a sign that doesn't belong to you, and you will find that the information there also applies to you. The way I work with my team is I try to bring information that is of most relevance to everyone in all life, including practical knowledge and practical advice. What I'm trying to say here is listen to your other signs as well as signs you normally wouldn't listen to but you are drawn to. Also, this month, for some reason, I recorded two messages for Gemini. I don't know how I did it. Never have done it before in the last 2.5, 3 years. And I've done them on the same day. It's almost as if I had amnesia. So you will notice that there is a Gemini reading 1 and Gemini message 2, video 1 and video 2. Listen to both. For some of you, both will apply. For some of you, one will apply over the other. I was asked, what do I do with this now? And the suggestion was given to me that I release both of them. So if you're a Gemini, consider this as a bonus month for you and see which one applies to you, perhaps both. And of course, for any messages that you are looking for, or any inside information on your personal life, these messages are general. You're welcome to connect with me. That information is down below for you. More than anything, I thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing and for sharing. I always am so grateful to be able to do this for you, and it is what brings me a great joy. So thank you so much. If you would like to comment how these messages apply to you, I would love to read them. I wish you best of luck. Take care of yourself and see you soon. Let's move on. Hello, beautiful Scorpios. These are going to be your messages for the month of November 2018. I feel like this is a very specific message, so it may not hit all of you, but for whatever reason, this is what is coming through. I feel also that a lot of it has to do with careers, and for some of you this is going to be about relationship, but it is also much more encompassing than that. Let me try and explain exactly what I mean. Let me first start off by saying that when I was connecting to your energy, to the Scorpio energy, when I was asking Spirit to show me, the first thing I saw is someone taking a chance on something. Now, the actual image I had was somebody bowling. So maybe you're really good at bowling, but it was a metaphor that was showing me that we are taking a chance at an aim. So this is symbolizing to me that most of you who understand this or who are meant to hear this, it's in regards to what or where you are aiming. This is in terms of future or longer term goals. I'm seeing the number 14. What is the number 14 in a tarot deck? See, this is where my tarot abilities come to play, which is there is none. Temperance, interesting. Okay, that makes perfect sense, actually. So number 14 may completely something different to you. 14 is the temperance, which is all about emotional balance. Now, in terms of why I'm being shown this, it's because many of you are choosing to change how you see things, and as a result, you will aim for different things for yourself, which brings me to my first card. You have the Panther. I love when Panther shows up. to me, it's a she. I have one of those as an animal spirit, and she is beautiful and shiny. And I think I've said this before, maybe not to you. And she has these yellow-green eyes. Point is that when the panther comes in as an energy, she comes unexpectedly, often very unexpectedly, and she pounces in, and her job is to purify what is stagnating. So you may find in the month of November or thereabouts that something comes up in your life or something comes into your awareness where you will have to deal with, and it may not be comfortable. This might be you needing to face something about you, or something you need to face about a situation. This is not a bad thing that is happening. On the contrary, it is exalting. Exalting? What does exalting mean? That's interesting. It is purifying. So in the month of, let me just look up the word exalting. Sometimes my guides give me different words, and I have to look them up. This is where I know it's not my head. Hold in very high regard. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Exalting. Purifying. See how exalting, what do you understand when I say the word exalting? It's in this context. Anyway, so it's not a bad thing that's happening or not a bad thing that will happen. On the contrary, it is a fantastic thing that is transpiring. Why? Because it will allow you to look in the mirror and face some things. Sometimes we do not want to face things because we're afraid to. We're afraid we can't deal with it. We're afraid we're too insecure. We're afraid of gazillion things that we are taught to be afraid of. But the fear that I'm being shown is a fear that is inside of you about you. It's not about outside, it's about you. And I'm supposed to qualify this statement. So, if you, I'm gonna talk about healing, because I feel for many of you, this is around an area either of work or passion or career, and it has to do with being a leader. So, if you have leadership-like qualities and tendencies, if you are drawn to be a healer, if you are drawn to be a speaker, if you are drawn to be an author, if you are drawn to want to make a difference, but you feel very insecure inside of you, chances are you're not going to aim at positions that are of leader quality. Why? Well, you don't believe you can, so you're not going to put yourself in a situation where you believe you can't, so you fail. And I feel something is going to happen in November where you will have to face that. You may be in front of a situation that forces you to show up as a leader, and you will have a whole bunch of stuff coming up, and you'll try to figure out the reasons why you can't or you shouldn't. Remember, the energy of a panther is one to come in and purify anything that's stagnating. So if you have been feeling stuck inside of you, if you have been feeling small, if you have been feeling not worthy, if you have been feeling whatever it is that stops you from being the best that you can be, chances are in the month of November, it's going to be pointed out to you. That's a great thing. It's a time for celebration. So that's what a panther is. I also want to say that whatever it is, it's going to happen very quickly, and then the dust is going to settle, and you're going to see the positive out of what initially felt uncomfortable. Any change, generally speaking, may be uncomfortable. Example, let's say you work for a company and you've worked there for a really long time, and all of a sudden somebody approaches and says, hey, I think you would make a great candidate for this leadership position. And you have excitement, and then the next minute you go, because all of a sudden your insecurities are coming up and saying, no, you can't do that. No, you're too this or too that, or not enough of this or not enough of that. And you'll have to face it. One way of facing it is saying, no, thank you, I don't think so, even though you know you should. Or another way of saying is, let me think about it and really get down into, okay, why am I being triggered right now? Because chances are, and for some of you to do with speaking, chances are, if something is being presented to you, the universe is giving you an opportunity to climb higher, it is because the universe realizes that you can. You, in your mind, believe you can't, but that isn't always the truth. Actually, almost never is the truth. Which brings me to the next message. And the next message is, I said, what is their responsibility? You have home. Few things. 2 and 7 is 9. And I don't do this with every card. I'm only doing this when I'm being prompted to. So this is an area around home. For some of you, something around your home needs clearing up or cleaning up. This could be a physical thing where you have too much clutter in your home and you're going to be moving out, and unless you clean it up, it's going to be a disaster. And by disaster, I mean, you're not going to have, you're not going to like because you've got too much clutter. That's one message. Another message is there is something in your home that you need to address. And by home, I mean your marriage, your children, your closest environment. There's something in home that you need to address. Perhaps something that you have been stuffing and not feeling good about, but have not brought it up to deal with. Month of November may offer you something that says you can't hide any longer. For others of you, this is home in terms of being home inside of yourself. So for us, the example with this work and the leadership quality, if you are given the opportunity and you have all these reasons why you shouldn't, chances are because the way you feel about yourself, your own inner being, your home, needs some rearrangement. So this is you needing to pay attention to your home in the month of November, whether it is in your home as in physical world, physical home, family, or home inside of you. How do you feel about you? How do you feel being in your skin? Does your inner home need some upgrade? The other part of the message is that you are on the right track. Whatever it is that you are moving forward to, providing you are following your intuition, the message here is for many of you, you continue what you're doing, you are on the right track. Again, the analogy of bowling was being shown to me, where you release the ball and you trust the ball is going to hit whatever it needs to hit. Sometimes you need some practice in order to hit all those things. I forget what they're called. So aim. The idea of aim is very important. The next message you have is way showing. Way showing is leadership quality. This card comes around and says, when it comes to you feeling being your own leader, you need to address that. Perhaps you have not taken leadership of your own life. Perhaps you have allowed others to be the leaders of you. Generally, when I see this message, it tells me that for those of you who are listening, for the most part, there is a leadership quality that wants to express itself through you. Whether it is in a job, whether it is in a relationship, whether it is in your life, whether it is whatever it can be, leadership to me signifies being in charge, not necessarily in control. You may be in charge, but not be in control, I think. Control just feels different. This is about feeling and being in charge. So this is calling some of you to hone your leader abilities, your leadership qualities for the near future. For some of you, this is asking you to step up to the plate. Perhaps you have been ignoring it for a long time and it's time for you to get on it. I'm adding the number 9 and 5, which comes to 14, which comes to number 5 again. So there are some changes around the idea of leadership, a quality of leadership. And what I feel more than anything, that many of you are being sharpened. I'm seeing you like a pencil, and the panther comes in, she creates a bit of a havoc, and this havoc sharpens you so that you become a really sharp instrument. And I'm going to leave that as an analogy. I think you know what that means. So there's a leadership thing calling onto you. Again, I hear the word step up to the plate. Some of you are healers and you need to, or you, whatever you do, whatever you feel you are enjoying has a connection to healing. Some of you need to step up to the plate and take ownership of those qualities and of those gifts and of those skills. And then that's also very much a leadership quality. Natural humility is another message. This is about, it's not about disassociating yourself from your ego, but it is about not letting the ego be in control of you. And this speaks to me again about being a leader. A good leader is someone who knows him or herself. Therefore, they have a pretty good awareness of what makes them tick. Why is that important? Because the more awareness you have of what makes you tick, you're less likely to be at a mercy of the environment, taking you all over the place like a flag in the wind. Because your inner home, your inner solidness is not there. Ego is important. I always say we need ego in order to survive. But when ego becomes imbalanced because it is too heavily rooted in our fears, that's when we become too lopsided. So the natural humility is about living with the ego, but not allowing the ego to take you for a ride. A more simplified way of saying this is about not letting your fears control you. Now, for those of you who are meant to be leaders, if you are fearful, then that fear will control you in such a way that will prevent you from you manifesting being a leader. And if part of your path, part of your life is to express your leadership-like qualities, the more you resist it, the more it will persist. And even if you don't get it done in this lifetime, you'll do it over in the next. My suggestion would be get it over with now. Okay? A lot of this has to do with work. I asked for more information. I asked for more clarity. So the Knight of Wands, thank you. It's a fast-moving energy. It feels career-oriented. It's also someone who's taking charge. This knight is ready to go. So again, this message says take charge. For some of you, it is to be more in charge of yourself in a relationship where you might be with someone who is hot-headed or someone who is very strong. Maybe you're in a relationship with a leader and that person has a tendency to overpower you, and you're being asked to step up to the plate, be your own leader in that relationship. The Ten of Wands was also symbolized to me, and it's telling me that for most of you, this is an end of a career or an end of the way you do things. Could be in love, yes, but there's a feeling of being overburdened. However, I feel that you are coming out of it, or you will be coming out of it as a result of this beautiful panther pouncing into your life and saying, no more, no more. The Wizard of Awareness is all about, well, as it implies, being aware. I feel many of you are honing your skills to become incredible leaders. Whatever leader means to you. You can be a leader of the biggest corporation, or you can be a leader of your own life, everywhere in between. Recognize what leadership means to you and ask yourself, how am I a leader in my own life? Leader can also mean that you are a part of a group that wants to lead others to the sense, to more of a sense of safety and security inside of them. And you are a pioneer. And that's another word that's coming up. Many of you are pioneers in terms of thinking. What do I mean by this? It means that you are being guided by higher level consciousness in order to help others overcome their own stuff. That's also another quality of a leader. As a matter of fact, open contact is one of the cards that was also shown to me. And this message says to me that many of you are healers in terms of receiving information from something other than what we can see. So this could be any form of energy healing, any form of channeling, intuition, psychic work, anything of that nature. Does it have to be psychic? Not at all. But it does tell me that even if you're a lawyer, even if you're practicing law, you might be heavily led by your intuition, but by what you call your intuition. For many of you, this is about what is it about? Can't find the words. It's about creating the ground, the foundation, leader being one of them, in order to have that contact at a later point. I really want to say many of you are healers and leaders in the making. I can't stress this enough. So as you can see, this is very specific. It seems to be very specific. So I'm hoping it's going to hit as many of you as possible. Last but not least, I want to share this card with you because this is traditionally a card of marriage. Four of Wands traditionally is a card of marriage. And for those of you who know me, I don't read cards traditionally anyway. I have my own little thing. When I saw this, I felt happiness. And I feel this is what's coming for most of you. Does this mean marriage for all of you? No. But what it does mean to me, it means stability. Now, this is Wands, so it can represent work, but it can also represent things that you love. Could be your passion, also relationship. So the message here is that whatever is ending or whatever you are letting go in the month of November or thereabouts is paving a way for you to have consistently stable future. Now, when I say consistently stable future, do I presume to think that you will never have challenges? Heck no. You wouldn't be here if that was the case. But what I am saying is that your future has the potential to feel much more secure in comparison to what has been up until this point. And I don't know about you, but I'll take that any day. However, you have the responsibility to yourself to recognize what that is in terms of what has been preventing you feeling it in the first place. And if you have been feeling small, if you have been feeling insecure, if you have been feeling not good enough, not worthy enough, whatever the things that we have that we learn, that will prevent you from you expressing yourself fully, including being a leader. I can actually feel this strongly in my throat. So for some of you, if you have a tendency to feel anxious or an anxiety, notice what this is about for you. An anxiety is always about the future. It's always about the future. Depression is always about the past. So if you live in a lot of anxiety, ask yourself what this is about for you. Going back to this card, expect the best because you deserve it. A very straightforward comment, right? However, knowing myself, and I represent many of you, we don't often believe that we deserve. And it's not a conscious thing. It's not a logical thing by any means. We may say to ourselves, we deserve, we deserve, we deserve. But when we look at our life, it's missing whatever it is that we deserve, we think we deserve. Chances are, deep inside, we actually don't deserve. And that's actually why we don't have it. And again, this is about awareness. And then I'm hearing, need I say more? Enlightenment is the name of the game. Now, isn't that a funny statement? What does enlightenment mean to me? Enlightenment to me means the proverbial light bulb coming on. When the light bulb comes on, we can see what was dark in the past, what was a shadow in the past, what was a fear in the past. Once illuminated, it loses its energy, it loses its impact on us. Another way of saying it, when everything is dark, shadow looks like a very scary thing. But the moment we turn the light on, what looked as a scary thing becomes really not much of anything. So to me, enlightenment means looking at our shadows in order to understand ourselves. Because the moment we have the shift of awareness, the moment the understanding comes to light, that is the moment where we move on to the next level. And I don't want to get too convoluted with this because I feel like I could go for hours, well, not hours, I feel I could go for a while. We'll do this live. Bottom line is, the month of November seems to be full of exciting moments where enlightenment can be the end result of your situations, particularly ones that the Panther will take care of. I don't know why I'm drawn to this Panther so much. It's a cat. Cats are very independent. So this speaks to me a lot about independence, you feeling independent inside. Emotionally independent, not necessarily physically independent, and because we all need some people to depend on sometimes. That's not the question. But if we fundamentally depend on others in order to live a happy life, that's a whole different story. And I'm not talking about people who need 24-hour care. That's not what I'm talking about. If we're addicted to be codependent, then that's not a balanced way of being. And I feel many of you have challenges with independence, with being too dependent on some things, with being fearful of being independent, whatever that is for you. And it always comes from how you feel about yourself. Always remember that. It's always your shadows. So illuminate your shadows so they're shadows no longer. And with that, I want to say thank you. I hope this will make sense to you at some point. Again, my aim is to give you information in a way that will help you think. It will help you ponder. It will help you look at your life and maybe apply this and see if you can shift your awareness. Because the moment you shift your awareness is the moment things start to look different going forward, in a positive way often. Generally in a positive way. So with that said, thank you so much. If you would like to connect with me, pertaining your own personal life, that information is down below for you. Again, if this doesn't make sense to you at the beginning of the month, listen to it a little bit later. If it makes sense to you now, comment. I would love to read it. And above all, I wish you a wonderful month of November. I believe many of you have birthdays in November, so happy birthday to you. And I'm seeing the number 21. That's also the world. So many of you are coming to a completion. You guys will be moving, or you will be moving on. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. And I want to say time is now. Time is now. So with that said, thank you again so much. I wish you best of luck and see you soon. Bye.